Welcome to the Bulletproof Podcast. Today I'll be answering 10 frequently asked questions when it comes to sobriety. And with that being said, if you are listening, you can see, but if you're on YouTube, you can see these, of course. If you're looking for an app, you can download this, the Bulletproof Recovery app, right now, and it is free on the App Store. It's Sober Tracker to help you on your journey of recovery. I'm literally an ex-addict, a best-selling author, and I am an addiction service provider. That is an app I've created that you can download right now. With that being said, I look forward to answering these 10 questions that you might have in the back of your mind. I've only read the first one and I don't even remember it, but I'm going to read them here now in a second. I could turn around, I could read it here, but I'll read it on my screen. How do I know if I'm really an addict or an alcoholic or just going through a bad phase? This is a very interesting question. When you look at alcohol, we separate alcohol and we separate, let's say, substances. So, alcohol, you could say it's a bad phase if you are normally drinking a certain amount per week. That normal amount is, let's say, the HSE or the UK recommendations is just 17 standard units for an adult, aka male, 11 for female. That means 8.5 pints, or 8 pints, should I say? It is 8.5 actually, 8.5 pints for a man, and you shouldn't consume more than six per week, right? So that is a generalized guideline when it comes to alcohol. So if you are, I'm just going to say that as a person that's drinking that amount per week. If you see you're drinking way more after a period of time, so let's say it's 6 weeks, 10 weeks, and you're consistently going over what you used to drink, you start to realize that you're in a bad phase. Now, if that goes on longer and longer, 3 months, 6 months, you've now got an addiction, especially if you are struggling to dial it back. If it keeps increasing with your alcohol, you've got a problem. In terms of substances, I would say you already have a problem. Right? You've already got a problem. If you're taking cocaine, for example, you've already got a problem, and that's just that. That's my thoughts. But again, most coke addicts will believe that they can stop anytime they want. Most weed addicts would say they can stop anytime they want, but then again, they just keep using. So if you know you're an addict, if you say you can stop, and then you don't, and then you can't stop. So, for example, if you were to leave on this question, do a 30-day test. Can you not do it for 30 days? And that will also put you in control. That'll put you in the driving seat. See how much urges you had, see how much temptation. But that would be a situation for that one. So that's number one. All right, let's move on to number two. Do I need to complete quickly or can I recover through moderation? You can recover through moderation. Most people think they need to quit completely. That is not that's not true. I know that literally from the work that I do with clients, every coke user that I deal with thinks that they need to stop alcohol as well as the substance. And like it's easier to stop both. It's more complicated when you're drinking alcohol and you've got coke there. Why? Because if you drink alcohol, you get tipsy, your inhibitions go depleted, and then you go take the substance because your best friend says he's on it, I'm on it, we're all on it, you're missing out, and yeah, I suppose you're right. I'm not in my right frame of mind, so I'll go use. So, do you need to completely stop? Absolutely not. Is it easier to stop and then you'll stop? Yes. What is a good path, and I try to do this with my clients, is that you'll stop for a period of time and then you'll reintegrate alcohol slowly. You reintegrate alcohol slowly because now you're going to be doing it from not just like nobody teaches you how to drink alcohol. Nobody teaches you in the world how to drink alcohol. Apart from like you're in Spain or Italy, I think they go out with a few glasses of wine with their kids or something. So now you're going to go out with intention. You're going to go out with the HSE recommendation drinks, 6 drinks, 8 drinks, right? And that's what you're going to do, and you're going to go home, the maximum. And if you do that over a consistent period of time, you're creating a new habit, you're creating a new standard, and that new standard, new habit is very useful. All right, so what's next? The idea of what are the first 24 hours, first week of recovery supposed to look like? Well, the first 24 hours, you're going to have, well, actually, this is a great opportunity to plug in my app again. If you look on the app, if you click alcohol and you stopped yesterday, it's going to start saying like stuff is going to be come back online. For example, your liver is going to be clearing unhealthy fats, quote unquote, or it's going to be clearing the elements of alcohol. If you're taking cocaine, you're probably going to go through withdrawals, and your dopamine centers aren't going to be coming online, or they are going to be coming online. So that's all internal systems that's happening online, which people don't value, right? Because I can't see it. I keep smoking even though my lungs are black, right? The first week of recovery again is supposed to be around withdrawals, but let's say you do Friday to Friday or Monday to Monday. That weekend that you have in the upcoming weekend, you're gonna have a challenge, and the challenge is going to be FOMO. The challenge is going to be that you know temptations and urges. The challenge is going to be around what else to do and feeling boredom and feeling like feeling like nothing's going on or nothing's happening. So it's not going to be so enjoyable, quote unquote. Give or take 1 or 2 weeks. Honestly, you will be going through a phase of 1 or 2 weeks of not so good. Now you also should be getting into work with therapy or into some professional in some way, shape, or form. And when you have sessions with someone, that's great because now you can start getting into the root of these things and start changing your associations to these things. So the first 24 hours could almost be hell. First week be less hell, but still a little bit down. All right, number 4. What do I do when cravings hit hard and I feel like I'm going to relapse? Early recovery, based off last question, you will feel like you will relapse and you will feel like you will have cravings. There's no doubt about it. I will put my life on the line. Someone in early recovery, I'll put my life on the line that if they go into a pub, if it's just for a family with a meal, if they go in for a meal with a family, if they go in for just watching a football match with their friends, I'll put my life on the line that they will think about using the substance in there. Doesn't mean they will, but that's the difference between having cravings and also just having a thought, a passing thought. What to do when you have cravings? This is urge surfing is a thing. You can download urge surfing from a website called bulletproofrecovery.ie. Bulletproofrecovery.ie. It's the same as the app Bulletproof Recovery. Urge surfing is basically 24-page exercises. You don't have to do all 24 pages when you have cravings, but they're grounding techniques, they're mindset techniques, they're perception techniques that you'll be able to help you assess, reassess, and not get swept up by the surf, by the wave. Urge surfing. We want to surf the wave. We want to surf the. We want to wave. We want to surf the wave. Yeah, we want to have enjoy the craving, but don't enjoy it where you go do it. All right. So get urge surfing and research urge surfing. I'll say that. Go do that. Is relapse part of recovery? Doesn't mean I failed. I said I'll stop 1,000 times. I didn't stop 1,000 times. I didn't stop 1,000 times. But when I got recovery, when I got help, that point from that day when I got help, it took me 3 relapses to get help. It took me 3 relapses for me to start getting back on the pathway. Studies say that it takes about an average from 3 to 12 for someone to recover. And relapse is majorly part. I don't know why you would even ask the question, does it mean I failed? What would be a failing is that, let's say you're working with a professional for like 10 weeks, genuinely, like, and 8 weeks you've been sober from like week 2 to week 10, and you relapse on week 10. It's only going to be your shame, your guilt, your doubt, your insecurities that's going to say, hey, look, I'm good. I don't need to work with you anymore. So I'll just go about my way, because it's almost like admitting that you failed is a problem. Relapsing is absolutely part of relapsing is absolutely part of recovery. I've only had one client when it comes to alcohol ever, from day one, have a completely different life from day one. With cocaine, I've never had another client who hasn't had a relapse from day one, from when we met on the discovery call. Discovery call, and you can book a link in the description. Discovery call, I've never ever had them not have a relapse in the future, and that's not a problem. That's very normal. All right, so don't think of it as a failure. Think of it as a stepping stone. What you should see, I'll last on that one, I suppose. You should relapse more early, and then it would be sporadic. We don't know when. Early on is because your friends are going out, you're being urged, you're being pushed, you did it, all you joy sniffing, just you needed it, right? You needed it. Later on, you start realizing you don't really need it, but then you go test yourself. You go test yourself with friends. You go test yourself at a pub, or you go put yourself in or something traumatizing happens in your life, not big or small, and that just sets you off on that day. But again, your bounce back ability, your lesson, your learning, the picking up from it, right? And adamance that you're not going to go back and you're not going to go back and sticking to that. All right, how do I deal with guilt, shame, and things that I did while I'm using/drinking? Well, in AA, they were saying that you're not responsible for your actions while you're an addict, but you are responsible for your actions after your addiction. I've never been to AA, but it is very useful and thoughtful and helpful principles in it. There is going to be tons of guilt and tons of shame. Everybody deals with it differently. Now, what do I mean by that? One person could cheat on their partner. One person could go rob a car. One person could punch someone. It literally depends. All of those situations, it is your interpretation of those things. It's your perception of those things that either gives it more volume, more intention in your mind, or less. All right. So if someone passed away, for example, as well, that's not guilt in what I did, quote unquote. But if someone passed away, how much volume do you give? Do you give it's the worst thing in the world and I can never do anything and it's the worst? That's you turning all the volume all the way up. If you turn it down and you say, look, this has happened, it's a reality, I'm sad that it's happened, and you start turning down the volume a little bit. These are things. And again, trying to do this in your mind isn't so good. Your pen and paper is fantastic. Or getting a professional talk through it too. All right, how do I build trust with my family, partner, or friends after addiction? What a beautiful question, because there's like an unlimited amount of ways you can do this. For me, I would have stolen from my family, which would have been terrible in terms of trust. But I've also got family members that would be fantastic in terms of trust. So it depends on which friends and which family you want to do. Is there some that you do want to speak with, and there's some that you don't want to speak with? Rebuilding trust comes in you. There's no doubt about that. You growing yourself as an individual, you growing your own character, you get into a place where you've got time, sobriety under your belt. You naturally become more trustworthy. You stick to your word, and that is trustworthy in itself. So getting time under your belt, time, and deep conversations where you're appreciative and grateful for those people that support you there. That's a beautiful one. All right. How do I handle social situations, weddings, pubs, holidays without drinking or using? I'll actually even add on a caveat in there of how do you handle them when you are drinking, not using, of course, but are drinking. So, how do you handle social situations? Not drinking, I honestly think it's quite easy for me nowadays, being sober, many years, over half a decade. It's I get great pleasure, great fun, great joy, great laughter. I have a lot of great things coming from those things. I won't be standing up on top of tables, and if that if that classes me as not cool, I'm not okay. Call me not cool. But actually, there's a lot of great things from being sober. You get to be home, a routine. You get the, like, think of the benefits here. You're not spending all the money, €6 a pint, give or take. You're going home at a reasonable hour. You're gonna get a good sleep. You're gonna be up in the morning. Think of all the benefits from you going out and not drinking. Right? That's great. When it comes to like stags, weddings, and holidays, these are really difficult. So pubs, I think, is easy. Weddings, stags, holidays are hard, and that's what, for me working with clients, these are dangerous areas that I can put people in. Very dangerous. The likelihood of them using, I think, has to skyrocket 1,000%. The likelihood of them using. So when you're not using, like, when you are drinking, I said I'll add that caveat. When you are drinking, go now with a timeline, go now with a limit, and going home with accountability. All right, those three things. When you go out, having those on your agenda is going to help you when you're going drinking. What time, how much, and who. Yeah, who can you trust on your way home? All right. Why do I feel anxious, flat, depressed? Now that I'm sober, shouldn't I feel better? There's a thing called the pink cloud. The first 2 weeks withdrawal symptoms. Week 3 to 12, you should have massive growth in terms of productivity, energy, sleep, motivation, creativity. Everything should be growing for you in terms of sobriety. After 3 months, 12 weeks, you should hit a plateau, give or take. Plateau meaning that you're not firing on all cylinders. You kind of rationalize out of things, but you're still growing. Now you should feel in the place of where you're feeling flat. Now you should feel in a place where you're feeling depressed. These are challenges and people where people relapse. And again, going back to the earlier thing, where if you relapse after 10 weeks or give or so, it's not a place of where you just go, that's the end of it. No, you need to get back on the wagon. Why do I feel anxious? Pink cloud, but also clearly depression is a framing of mind. Anxiety is a framing of mind. It's not because you're sober. It's because things inside of your mind, you're currently holding on to them in a certain way. Should you feel better? You will feel better. I can guarantee you will feel better long term being sober. All right, number 10, last question. What daily habits actually keep recovery strong long term? Routines, meeting, therapy, community, purpose. They've just answered all of the answers right there. But I will add on to those. Routine is something that every single human in the world needs, 100%. Meetings. I never went to personal meetings, but I know clients go to CA and NA and even AA. And AA is like one of the ones that people are finding most benefit from. I don't know if you want to go through all the 12 steps and give or take, but people love going to meetings because, and also people hate going to meetings. Some people love going to meetings because they realize that their situation isn't so bad, but then also people hate going to meetings because they see people's situation so bad and that makes them feel bad. You know, therapy obviously very, very beneficial and recommended. Community, if you had a good network of friends, you're going to be very good. Purpose, this is one area that I will expand on because I know it's massive. Why do I know it's massive? If you do not have an effective purpose, a useful purpose, a hopeful purpose, a joyous purpose, why not go use coke? Why not go get shit faced? Why not get blacked out? Why not do those things? Because ultimately, you got nothing else to do. You got nothing else to live for. So having a purpose is critical on my agenda in terms of helping clients. What else is critical on the agenda are habits? Routine, purpose, community. These are big words that I go with. I would say goals on it as well. I love goals, and there's one that's eluding my mind right now, but it's okay. It's okay not to have the answer right here at the top of my mind. All of those are very useful. What is just mentioned there. Yeah, I'll just leave it there. I'll leave it there. There's 10 questions, and frequently asked questions, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed all of those, and I look forward to seeing the next episode if I do get to see you in the next one. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to be jumping up here. Have a beautiful, blessed day, and I look forward to seeing you next. I really appreciate it. See you then. Remember to check out the links in the description, hit the follow and like button and comment. That'd be awesome. And check out that big app over there, Bulletproof Recovery app. See you.